How did they come to this decision? What does it mean? Joining us now to discuss, distinguished university professor at Touro College, Thane Rosenbaum, and attorney and Turning Point USA contributor, Aaron Elmore. Thane, is this the way you thought it would come out? Any surprises?
Not really. What's really surprising to me, Bob, is that there wasn't much of a difference between the first draft that was leaked in February and the final draft that was presented today. Even language that I thought was very provocative from back on the first draft, Roe v. Wade, egregiously wrong, flawed, weak reasoning, it's still here. So it seems as if, for the most part, the justices remained united from the first draft to the last draft, for the most part. And the attempts, death threats, the protests, even the leaking of the opinion itself obviously did not intimidate them. They held together.
Yeah, and Aaron, we've been hearing a lot of fear-mongering from the left since that leak, saying that what is this going to lead to? This is going to be the end of interracial marriage. This is going to be the end of same-sex marriage, and on and on and on. But I want to take a look at this. The justices within the majority on this decision today released the following statement: to ensure that our decision is not misunderstood or mischaracterized, we emphasize that our decision concerns the constitutional right to abortion and no other right. Nothing in this opinion should be understood to cast doubt on precedents that do not concern abortion. Your take on that, and will we hear that fear-mongering subside, or is it going to keep on going?
If the left doesn't have fear and lies, they have nothing at all. So I just combed through this opinion as quickly as I could. And to piggyback on your point there, pages 13 and 32 of the opinion explicitly discuss what you were just saying, because now the left is using fear and saying what's going to happen to gay marriage or interracial marriage or the right to contraception. And the court, what they explicitly said was, no, we are talking about one issue and one issue only. And the words were fetal life. We are talking about fetal life. And by the way, another tactic that the left is using is saying, well, abortion is gone. That is not true. All we are doing now is making this a states' rights issue, which gives the people and our democracy more ability to flourish. So this doesn't mean that abortion is gone. In places like California, New York, Illinois, very liberal states, there will probably be infanticide. And that will have the repercussions that it shall. But other states, yes, that are more conservative, the people will choose, their electorate will choose, the legislature will choose. So that's sort of a bastardization of the law and of what this opinion means. All it means is that Roe is not good law. And by the way, brilliant liberal jurists like Ruth Bader Ginsburg even said that Roe wasn't good law. Lawrence Tribe, a brilliant attorney and strategist in the legal realm, said it wasn't good law, because what it did is it put the ability for the Supreme Court to have to make every decision about abortion. Let's leave it to the people and let's leave it to the states. It doesn't belong with 9 people in robes. It belongs to the electorate in our democracy.
Yeah. They essentially wrote a law back in 1973. Right. And today, the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. That's left to the people in the states. So, Thane, let's talk about that, because if you go back to the states, some are going to allow abortion, some are not. Some are going to restrict it very heavily, others not so. But we had the president today mention that there should be a national law for abortion. Now, if there were different rules throughout the country, different laws in the states, and I think he's trying to use this as a political tool to get people to come out and vote Democratic. We could discuss that separately. But if there were a law written nationally that said you had the right to an abortion up to X number of weeks, and you had a state that said, no, we don't allow it, or we only allow it to heartbeat law, how would that play out?
Well, Bob, remember, the Supreme Court just said today that the federal government should not be in the abortion business because it's not an enumerated constitutional right. It belongs in the political process. So it could, in fact, be a conflict between state law and federal law that would be possibly resolved in favor of the states, precisely for what the Dobbs decision indicates today. Remember, what's really fascinating about what you're seeing in the public protests is that the Alito decision today essentially says this is a political and a moral question. It's not a constitutional question. So make your argument in the public sphere. Go into the political sphere and elect officials in state legislatures that will be more sympathetic to pro-abortion. But instead, what are we seeing? Death threats, intimidation. We're now calling it a day of rage. A day of rage? You know, this is what Hamas says in Gaza. They use the words day of rage. Make your argument. It's like the hard left is afraid. It's like they're not, either they haven't read any books and they can't make the argument, or they don't have confidence in their argument. They come from this new culture of shouting down, canceling, threatening, intimidating. And it's really ironic because they were invited with this opinion today to bring it into the political sphere.
Yeah. Don't
show up at Supreme Court justices' homes with bloody shirts and dolls. Make an argument in state legislatures.
Aaron, how's this going to play out politically in the fall, you think?
You know, there are concerns because the big demographic that both parties need to win is that college-educated suburban woman. And we don't know how she's going to see this decision. You know, is she educated on the fact that it's a state's right now? Is she aware of how this is going to play out? So I do think that some people are one-issue voters on both sides, and this can drive people to the polls on both sides. But we are seeing a crisis in our country with inflation, highest inflation in 40 years. We have no baby formula. We have other shortages in the grocery store. Gas is at a ridiculously high price.
Right.
Those are the kitchen table issues that really matter to voters. And I think that's what's going to drive people to the polls over the issue of abortion.
Right. All right. Aaron Elmore, Thane Rosenbaum, thanks so much for being with us. Great.
Finally happened, Thane.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for months. Finally got to.
Yes.
Thanks, Aaron.